using practice exams to assist you as you watch, learn, and conquer. Let's begin. Our objective for you and I in this video is really simple. Wouldn't it be great if when scheduling an exam where we've laid out between $100 and $400 for a certification exam, wouldn't it be great to help validate that we are ready for that exam? Well, one tool that we can use to do that is the practice exams that are available through CBT Nuggets. And in this video, I want to walk you through where they are inside of the interface of CBT Nuggets website for our members. And secondly, I want to walk you through how you can leverage them to squeeze every drop of juice out of these great tools. Now, the very first thing I'd like to address with you is where are these located? So we've logged on. I've logged on as this fantastic learner. And if we want to see the practice exam, there's a couple of different ways we can find them. One, we can go to video training right here, click that link, and over on the right, it has a laundry list of the Transcender practice exams available for Cisco, Microsoft, CompTIA, etc. So we can certainly click on here and drill down to find those exams. However, another way is to go to the videos that we're currently working with. There's also a link there. For example, let's say we go to our certification playlists, and we'll go to Cisco certification. And here we have a whole bunch of Cisco certifications. Let's start with CCENT. So right here in this certification playlist, it indicates that there is a practice exam associated with this content. So there's the courseware, there's some supplemental content, for example, IPv4 subnetting, exam walkthroughs, a troubleshooting mastery class, all which can be helpful for that certification. And over here in the right-hand column, it also indicates that there is a Transcender practice exam associated with that course. Yet another way to find the practice exam would be to actually launch the course. So let's say we go down and we grab one of Jeremy's great videos, like for example, Cisco Foundation, speaking the language of the OSI model. So we'll click on that, and that brings that up. And I'm going to pause him just for a moment, because what I want to focus on is right here. It's got a link for the practice exams for the ICND1. And in this example, there's actually two separate practice exams, one from Transcender and one from Self-Test. And heck, you can use them both. So there's several ways and links to find the actual practice exams. Now, one of the questions that might come up is, how do I know if I have access to these practice exams? We include these for individuals who are subscribing individually, and they've purchased a whole annual subscription. We actually discount that price, and we also toss in practice exams. And it's my understanding that a lot of corporate accounts also have the practice exams as part of their subscription. So the second thing I want to address is, how do we actually go ahead and use them and get the most out of them? So the first thing we're going to do, of course, is launch it. And that opens up a separate tab or a new window. So we can go back to our previous content and look at it if we want to, or go to the brand new window. And there's two different flavors of the practice exam. One I call has training wheels. And with training wheels, what you can do is you can say, I want to customize my exam experience. I want to get questions, for example, on this topic or that topic. And as I go through the exam, I want to be able to click a button and see what the answer is right then and get more help on a particular subject if I need more clarification on it. So let's say our exam's like a month out, and we're studying the content, we're going through it. We might use this periodically just to assess our understanding and help identify any weak spots that we might have. Now let's say we're getting closer to exam time. Let's say our exam is in 4 or 5 days, and we want to make sure we're ready. Then we can move over to this section right here. The preset exam experience does not have any training wheels. We don't get to choose the topics they're going to give us. We don't have the option of clicking a button and seeing the answer right there. And it's basically geared towards simulating a real exam environment where there's no option to click a button and see what the answer is and get more help on that question at that moment. It will at the end, however, tell you how you did, and that's a great way to assess your understanding of the content that's being tested. The third option isn't really a practice exam, but it's a fantastic tool, and they are flashcards. And the flashcards are excellent. They go ahead and they bring up a topic. We'll type in what we think the answer is. We'll click on show, and then we can compare what we typed in versus what they expected. And this option is really cool because there's not a multiple choice or multiple guess, as I like to sometimes call it, and you can really validate whether or not you really understand that content. So let's take a tour together of these options. On the far left, we have the training wheel experience. And it's pretty darn cool because we can say, I want these random questions, 50 out of 269, or I want these select topics. For example, let's say we would want to take a look at IP addressing very detailed. We say I want 10 from that, and maybe I want 10 from troubleshooting. We can mix and match as we want. So that would give us 20 questions, 10 from each of those areas. Or we could say, you know what? I just want to see questions where it's single answer, multiple choice, or multiple answer, multiple choice, or some of each, or interactive. So we can mix and match there. We can also look for keywords. That's very likely to catch the questions regarding OSI using the OSI keyword. The system can also serve us up questions based on what we've missed previously. So if we want to see questions that we've missed, for example, in our previous attempts, like 4 or more times, we can select that, and it will only serve us up questions that we have missed that many times. There's also an option to say, I want to see questions where I've previously entered notes on those questions. So let's go back up here to this selection with 10 IP addressing questions and 10 troubleshooting questions, and we'll click on Start. Now this one has an exhibit. Sometimes if there's an exhibit that's too big to put on the actual one page, this button will be highlighted and it'll bring up a separate window with that exhibit so you can see it moved around while you look at the question. So you've established a console session with R1, that's right there, and you're attempting to download an iOS image from the TFTP server in the diagram below, that's right there. However, you're unable to make the connection to 150.140.6.5. What is the problem? And then we'd proceed to figure it out. Now, I'm just curious for a moment. So if we have a /27, that means the block size is 32 for that subnet. So the subnets are going to be 0, 32, 64, 96. Those are our subnets. And here's the ranges, 1 through 30. And this would be 33 through 62. And if we look at the last octet of the IP addresses, .5 is in this subnet. That's where the TFTP server lives. And the router interface is, the last octet is 39. So the router is actually in a different subnet. So there's an IP addressing problem between the router and that TFTP server. So I'd go with this one right here. The IP address of the TFTP server is incorrect. It's very likely the router's okay and the TFTP server isn't. So let's say we're fairly new to IP addressing and subnetting and we needed some help with that. We simply go up here and we click on Grade Item. It will show us what the correct answer is, and if we scroll down, it has an explanation of why that's the case, which is really, really cool. That's part of the training wheels that are available. So then we continue on, we click on Next and go to the next question. When we're done, we can click on End Exam. We can either go through all 20 questions and then go to the Item Review, where we can review all these questions. And when we're done, we click on End. It gives us a confirmation message. Are you sure? I'm going to click OK. Look, I got 0 in IP addressing, and that's because I didn't actually use the mouse to click that button to select the answer. So the cool thing is it does give us an indication in each area that we selected and tell us how many we got correct out of each of those sections. And it's been scientifically proven you have to click at least one answer to get any points. Alright, so that's the practice exam with training wheels. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the preset exam experience looks like. This is the no training wheels version. There's 4 banks of questions. We have 3 that are preset. 1 is randomized. Let's go ahead and take that last one. We'll click on Start, and it asks us the question. So you notice up in the top right, there is no grade now option, no option for additional help. We simply have to answer the question and then move on. So we'd read it, answer it, and move forward. I'm going to go to the next item. Which 2 addresses are in the same subnet? That is a tricky question and very realistic for the ICND1 exam. So how I would solve this, I'd say, okay, it's a /26 mask. That means in the 4th octet, we're using 2 bits for subnetting, and we have 6 bits left over for host addressing. This least significant bit here of the mask has a value of 64. So it's 128, 64, 32, and so forth. So that's our block size. So our subnets are going to be 0. That would be subnet 0, and then 64, and we simply add that block size over and over again. 128, 192, and those are our subnets. And the ranges for those subnets would be 1 through 62. For the 64 subnet, it would be 65 all the way through the next subnet minus 2, 126. For the 128 subnet, it would be 129 all the way through 2 less than the next subnet, 190. So we simply look at the ranges. Okay, 55 is here in that range. 85 is in that range. 45 is also in that range. 203 is way off the boards. He's out there. So it's the guys that end in 55 and 45. They're in the same subnet. So what we'd do is we'd put checkboxes on the 55 answer and on the 45 answer and get those points just like that. And then go on to the next question. So typically we'd go through all 40 questions, and then when we're done, we'd click on End Exam. I'm going to stop it early. I think we answered 1 whole question, and it's going to tell us how we did. And that one they put in the category of troubleshooting. I suppose if 2 devices couldn't talk to each other, if they're not on the same subnet, that would explain why. And then we'll go ahead and click on End Exam. So next, let's take a look at the Transcender Flash. These are amazing. We can customize them. For example, if we want to have certain questions on certain topics, or we can randomize it, and then simply click on Start. And this time it's going to give us questions, and we type in the answers. So this question, what would the subnet mask if the IP address is this, and the maximum number of hosts per subnet is 254, and the maximum number of subnets possible is 256. Well, if you have 254 hosts, that is a /24, because that leaves 8 host bits. 2 to the power of 8 minus 2 is 254. So I think the answer is a/24. Now they might want the mask as 255.255.255.0, which is a dotted decimal representation of that. Now how do we find out if that's correct? We click on Show Answer. We have the correct answer. Woohoo! We do a little happy dance, and then we grade ourselves. Why? Why bother grading ourselves? Because the system is tracking how many questions you're getting right and wrong, so you can get a score at the end, and so it can help us. If we tell the system, hey, please show me questions I've missed 3 or more times or 2 or more times, grading ourselves accurately on these flashcards is going to be very, very helpful in that light. So we can go through all 50 questions, or if you want to stop early, click End Exam. You click OK on the confirmation message, and then it's going to give you your score of how well you did out of the number of questions it gave you. So here I had 1 question in the IP addressing that we got correct. There was a total of 8. We only saw 1 of them. That's okay. And that's a really clever way of helping us truly identify what areas are our weak spots where we'd want to go back and study some more. So when we're done, we click on Exit. And for example, if we needed to study IP addressing more in detail, we just go right back to CBT Nuggets. And it shows you right here where we left off in our last training. So I'm going to click on that. If you click this, it takes you to the course. If you click here, it takes you to the exact video you were in. So either way works. So I'm going to go to ICND1. And let's say I need to study up on IP addressing. So I might go right here and say, I'm going to play this video on IP addressing. Also, if we went back to certification playlists and Cisco certifications and went to CCENT, there's also a supporting video called IPv4 subnetting. I happen to know the author on that one. And that is razor sharp focused on IPv4 subnetting. So the certification playlists are a great way to help make you aware of those resources that are available to you as you watch, learn, and conquer. I appreciate you joining me. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.